Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of Art Talk Out West, and unfortunately, our last episode of this season. But thank you for following me through this journey so far. I'm so excited to get into our last episode. But before that starts, as always, acknowledging the Cabral people of the Darug Nation that we are here on today in so-called Fairfield, and acknowledging and paying respects to all elders past, present, and emerging. And also keeping in mind that there is still a lot of work to be done for First Nations people here. And today, I think in our conversation, we're going to dive into a lot of talk about family and culture and what has come before us, and maybe touch on immigration and whatnot. And whilst we're having this conversation, I want us to keep in mind that we are here as visitors on this land. Just keep that center of our mind. And without further ado, I'm so excited to introduce you guys to Gabriela. Hi. Should we call you Gabriela or Gabs?
You can flow. Okay. Whatever you like, yeah.
Gabs feels natural.
Gabs is fine, Gab. Actually, I'm pretty comfortable with any
Gabriela
nickname.
Is very pretty.
Yeah, there's been like times where I've tried, like every time I've moved to a new place to live, I always try and like bring Gabriela back because I feel like it's like my real name, you know, and it connects to my culture. But it always then becomes Gab. So yeah, totally love Gab.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Gabriela. All right, Gabriela, introduce yourself. Tell the audience who you are and what you do.
Okay, so yeah, I'm Gabriela and happy to be called whatever name, Green Olea, and I am an artist, I guess. I'm a dancer primarily. That's my art form.
Yeah.
But I would say that my art making it doesn't really come across as dance. Even though that's where I began, and everything sort of stems from a very movement body place. I'm very much a social artist, I would say. So I really love working with people and just really diverse people. So mostly people who aren't dancers or people that are dancers but are not your kind of traditional, I guess haven't had the traditional kind of training in dance. And so that's my art. I do lots of projects that work with lots of different artists that sometimes have no dance or have lots of dance. And I work with people of all ages, different communities, people with disability, young people, older people, people my own age, and I also produce as well. So I've always kind of worked in arts admin-ish kind of place, I work at PYT Fairfield as their creative producer, and I've been there for the last, I think, 4 years or something like that. And I really love that space as well. Just, you know, making things happen for artists and just building the community, really. Yeah.
I can tell you like making that happen. And so, guys, like with these 6 episodes that I've done, I've loved sharing these amazing people with you guys because I've worked with them and I know them and they're in my network. But I was so excited to bring Gabs on because, Gabs, I feel like I met you properly for the first time in, say, November 2024. Like, I know we were always crossing paths at PYT, but we never really sat and had a conversation. But then when you were helping me with a funding application, I was like, wow, like this person cares so much. And I know it's your job, but still you provided such great insights. So I can tell you love making things happen for other people as well.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah.
Also, I love how you say, you know, I think I'm an artist, I guess.
Well, it's one of those things,
I know.
You know?
But you guys, like, I feel like a few of the other guests that I interviewed, like, I think Tammy said something similar as well. I'm like, you are an artist.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things. Sometimes I'm like that as well.
Yeah, and I think, like, it's so interesting because, I'm Chilean, right? So, I'm actually mixed race. So my dad, he's, was born in Australia and his lineage is, like, English, Irish, Anglo kind of upbringing. And my mum, she's Chilean, so she was born in Chile.
Yeah.
And she's very Chilean. And I grew up a lot. My father unfortunately passed away when I was really little, so I grew up pretty much with my Chilean sort of family. So I think that culturally is very much who I am. And yeah, it's always this. So in Chilean, a lot of the kind of pioneering Chilean artists from kind of when my family was there, you know, they also talk about like how do we name ourselves, you know, and there's this really amazing singer, Victor Jara, who was a really political singer who actually was murdered in the dictatorship. And you know, he said, I'm not an artist. You know what I mean? Like he always said, I'm a worker, like, because it was very important for him to be part of the people. When I was in Chile last year, I was chatting to this incredible photographer, Seva Silva, and he was saying the same thing. Like he's an incredible photographer, like artistic, total artist, you know, but he was like, no, I'm not an artist, you know, like I'm doing a job, like I'm a journalist, you know, so I think it's so interesting how we name ourselves but I know I love art, so, and I love creativity, so I think artist feels good, but, you know, I think it can be understood in so many different ways, and especially when you're a dancer, if you say you're an artist, you know, like people are like it's not really dance, you know what I mean, people think painting or, you know, and then if you say you're a dancer, people have no idea what you're saying. They're like, oh, okay, like, what sort of dance do you do, you know? And then if you say, like, I do contemporary, like, people have no idea.
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Because you know what? I actually grew up with that mindset. If somebody said artist, I just thought painter.
Yeah, exactly, you know.
And sometimes I just thought it was, like, ignorance for me and I wasn't really maybe, like, educated on it. And, like, again, culturally for me as well, it's not something we speak about much or... But actually like how, because to be honest, I view you like as like a leader, you know, just because of the role you have and the position you have and and you've mentored me kind of like in hair and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's actually nice to hear you have that kind of thinking about it as well. You know what? I don't think it's even worth getting into the wording of it or like, it's at the end of the day, it's not really a big deal. But I like how you were sharing about how these artists in Chile like would say, I'm not an artist, I'm a worker. I like that. I remember having a conversation with someone a while ago. Being an artist and creating and whatnot, it's just kind of a part of our manner.
Yeah.
And it's a part of our being. And it is work. It is.
Yeah, it is essentially work.
Yeah, we're not just, you know, like dawdling around, you know, throwing our legs here and there. Like, no, it is work. So I like that.
Yeah. And I think it was, you know, to try and connect to not, because, you know, artists sometimes are seen as like separate from society. Yeah. You know?
Like someone poshly wearing a striped shirt.
Or, you know,
a martini in a hand.
Yeah.
We're not that. No.
We're not that. Yeah.
Actually, thank you. You've actually like got me thinking about it as well. Yeah. And I think especially for us out here in Western Sydney, we do a lot of like artwork, but like in community engagement and advocacy. And we always want to be seen as like the same level as everyone else. No one is above anyone.
Yes, definitely.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, cool, Gab. So I'm very interested in your upbringing. So you told us dad was Anglo.
Yeah.
Mum was Chilean.
Yeah.
Let's speak about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I grew up mostly with my mum's side of the family. And being a single mum, you know, like we were very close. Yeah. So my grandparents, I'll talk about the story, how we got here, but so my grandparents were in Chile. Born in Chile, and I assume we've got Spanish. I mean, we can trace back, I think, to the Basque country of Spain, which is kind of like up towards the French border.
Yeah.
And my grandfather, he came from like a military background. So he's either cops or military. So like very, you know, I'm very anti all that stuff. I know, I've got a tattoo that, you know, expresses my feelings towards those institutions. But he was from that, so I'm actually from that too. But he rebelled. So he was like, I don't want to live this lifestyle of, you know, like order and blah, blah, blah. And so he actually, he decided to leave his family and become an artist. So he was a sculptor. He did mostly wood carvings. That was his main thing. And, you know, he said he started off like carving candles. Like that was his way of beginning. But yeah, he was an incredible, incredible artist. And I think, so it was a big thing for him to kind of get away from that lifestyle and find freedom in the arts. And then, you know, he was in Chile in the 60s working as an artist, and he met my grandmother. She's very creative. Like she's not an artist, but she's a very eccentric human being.
Okay, I can see that in you.
We're actually really similar. When I first went to Chile, like all her like siblings were like, "Oh my God, you are your grandma," you know. So she's a creative soul, but my grandfather, they met at uni in art class. He was actually her teacher, art teacher, you know, as it happens, and you know, they were just surrounded by the culture there, which was really political. Like it was very leading in this, you know, kind of socialist ways of thinking of like everyone is you know, deserving of food, water, housing, you know, and really like building from community up. And my grandfather just dove straight into that, and it was so paired with the arts. Like the arts and the politics was not separate, and it was this movement called the Nueva Canción, which is like the new song movement. And it was just full of all these amazing artists, just, you know, relating to people and fighting for like a better social place in Chile. And then there was this president that got in, Salvador Allende, and he was voted in, and he was a socialist. And my grandfather was really supportive in getting him in that campaign, and he was, you know, he was doing his art, but he was also very much doing a lot of community work. As in like, you know, making sure people had food, housing, all that sort of stuff. And then like in many South American countries during this time, America, North America, United States, wasn't very happy about a socialist guy getting in and being like, hey, we don't want to do business with America anymore. And so basically they killed him. So it was a military coup. It was someone in the Chilean military, but they've tied many things, even back to Australia. Like Australia had influence in that time, and CIA, all that stuff. And so, it was just not safe for my family to be there. So my grandfather escaped straight away. So there was a period of a few months, I think, where my family didn't see him, but then he came back to grab my family. So he came back, and he tells the story that art saved our lives. And, you know, like, I think this is a true story. Like, he tells, you know, he's one of those guys that says everything comes from Chile, you know.
Period.
You know, which isn't true. Although the first Australian Prime Minister apparently was Chilean. Someone told me, I don't know, I have to fact check.
I believe you and your granddad.
Everything. But, so at the border, he went back to get my family, and at the border he had one of his massive sculptures, I think it's the Moai, probably saying it wrong. It's the Easter Island head. So he did a lot of those. That was like his kind of thing. And there was a change of the guards. So they originally said my family couldn't go through because they were on the like list of don't go through. And there was a change of the guards, and this new guard walked in and loved he was like, oh, this is amazing. And so my grandfather gifted it to him. He said, here, it's too heavy, like, take it. And then magically he was like, all right, like a few minutes later, they just let my family cross the border into Argentina.
Wow.
And then they were there for a few years. Then a dictatorship happened. Same thing happened in all the countries, happened in Argentina. And then they were able to get like UNHCR refugee status and actually come to Aotearoa in New Zealand, Auckland, where they lived. My mum pretty much grew up there, and then they moved to Australia, like Sydney.
Wow.
Yeah, before I was born.
I'm getting a bit emotional hearing all that.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful story. And, you know, like my mum has 5 siblings, and they're all kind of born, you know, some born in Chile, some born in Argentina, New Zealand, here. So it's this, you know, like really journey of, migration and travel. But we're a close-knit family, and I think, you know, like my grandfather's an artist. In my aunties and uncles, like they're probably majority artists. And so it's just always been supported, you know, but also like in a good way, like in a political, like it's about people, it's about community. And I think that's really influenced me.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Wow. And I feel like To be honest, I haven't heard many stories like that, or I actually don't know much about that history. But yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. And first of all, I think we need like a movie on the love story of your grandparents because that's really cute. And secondly, I love how your granddad says art saved us.
Yes.
Or, art saved our lives.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's really beautiful. And, he always has said that, he's always been someone I looked up to, like, in high school, like, I did a thing, like a project on him, and I've always tried to sort of like capture his story because I think it's, even though it's a very different art form, the fact that, that art is so, it's so amazing to just bring freedom, I guess, essentially. So,
100%.
and he was creative till he passed away last year, and he was, like he had dementia, and so he couldn't remember anything, and blind as well, and but he could sing a song, like a Chilean song, word for word. So it was definitely a big part of his life.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. God rest his soul.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great man. Okay, so growing up, you'd say you were surrounded by art.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like, and I'm surrounded by art and culture and like a respect for it as well. And I mean, I danced, like dancing came into me, like I just always danced.
Yeah.
So ever since I can remember.
Yeah.
And my mum just said, like, I never wanted to do any other act, which I'm a bit upset about because I feel like I'm not very skilled. Like, I can't play a musical instrument. I can't do sport, like maths, there's so many, but that's it because I was like, nothing else. I can't do, just dance.
Yeah.
So there's always been a passion for that. I don't know why. But yeah, my auntie, who I still live with now, like we've pretty much grown up our whole lives together. She was a dancer. She's now a counsellor, but like I pretty much could see dance as a career and
That's beautiful. What suburb did you grow up in with your family?
Yeah, so my mum moved a lot. Yeah, so she but it was mainly, I would say, around Croydon Park.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
Kind of area.
Kind of similar to Bina, I think.
Yeah, we actually went to the same high school.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we both went to Stratford Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, so close to Bina, but yeah, we did move around. Like I lived in Kellyville for like a random year, and now I live in Rose Hill. I've lived in Eastwood. I've lived in, but yeah, I guess Western Sydney.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the majority was like Croydon Park, and my grandma still lives in Croydon Park, so we're still kind of. Quite connected there, yeah.
Did any of your family ever live in Fairfield? Because I know there's a big community here.
Yeah, so there is. We don't, actually no. My mum, or maybe that house wasn't in Fairfield. No, but we possibly, my mum may have, although it may have not been Fairfield exactly. But my grandmother worked at the Gola Gola Club, which was like, where Frank's is?
Yes.
Great Lebanese restaurant.
Yeah. Shout out Frank's.
In Fairfield. So there was a Chilean club. Yeah. Just above. It's the sign's still there.
The sign is still there. Yeah. Sarah always points it out.
Yeah. So that was a place to be. Like it was a really great place. And my grandma was a waitress there.
Yes. Yeah.
So we spent a lot of time. I remember sitting on those stairs.
Wow.
So we spent a lot of time in Fairfield. And also just like the services here, the Spanish speaking doctors. There's and my grandmother still, like she lives in Croydon Park, but she will still come to Fairfield.
Yeah, yes.
All the time. And, she feels at home here. So I think the Chilean community is very strong here. So.
It is, yeah. And listeners, if you don't know why I'm asking this, I ask because there has always been a big Chilean community here in Fairfield. And I think it maybe used to be bigger like a few
definitely
decades ago.
Yeah, so when my family came, like because of the dictatorship and that kind of time of change, a lot of people came in that time. So that's kind of in the 70s is when a lot of and actually not just Chile, like Uruguay, all over.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, to think that you used to sit on those stairs
all the time,
and then years later you would kind of work pretty much across the road.
I know, it's so great.
As a creative producer, as an artist, doing amazing things at PYT.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it's so great. And I mean, like, I love Fairfield. You know, like it's such a great place. It's so inspiring. It's so full of amazing people. And I think it's just such a great place to be doing art.
It is, yeah. There's lots of culture here, lots of things to be inspired by. So thank you for sharing that insight into your family. Very interesting. It actually helps me understand you a bit more. Everything's making sense now. And so, yeah, so family was supportive. And when you told them you wanted to be an artist, there was no questions. It was just like, well, we expected that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I did have to have a job.
Yes, of course.
You know, I think that's just growing up with not much money and, you know, I think, but as long as I could have a job, and I think that was really motivating for me because I think you know, like dance traditionally is not a very accessible art form. And this, you know, troubles, like this is a huge challenge of me as an artist, I think, in Australia, navigating that kind of world because it's really expensive to dance, you know, and like my mum put it on credit cards, you know, which she told me when I was an adult, but, you know, like it's not cheap to do ballet. And I was dancing like when I was, you know, a young person, I was dancing 5-6 days a week.
Okay, tell us, what type of dance did you start off in?
I guess all the things. So ballet, jazz, hip hop, contemporary, just dance school.
And how old were you when you started?
I think I was 3.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I haven't stopped since.
Yeah, no, okay.
But, you know, it's an expensive thing. You got to get costumes. There's the Stedfords. There's trips, you know. And I was very much in the commercial. I actually danced in Vegas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so when I was like 14 and 16, I think. And Patti LaBelle, who's this amazing singer, I actually backup danced for her. Wow. So I had this, but that's kind of when I gave up.
Okay.
The commercial.
Why was that?
Just because it just wasn't my cup of tea. Like it was very like, it's really hard. Really hard, but it also it doesn't have anything behind it. And I think because I had been around art, you know, and I understood artistic practice or just even the art world, you know, and my auntie who was a dancer, she took me to like Chunky Move, she took me to like different shows, like, you know, contemporary dance show, even Sydney Dance Company and all that stuff. So I was like, okay, this is the dance I want to do, not just kicking my leg up and spinning around. Yeah, so I kind of, and I just wasn't, it was hard, man. And like, you know, you had to, it's like a sport, I guess.
No, it is. Dance is a sport. Yeah. Like, I'm not a dancer. Actually, I did ballet and jazz for 2 years when I was like 5 and 6, but then I gave up. It was hard.
It was hard.
But yeah, no, it is difficult. Would you say, so you did the whole commercial dance.
I did the whole commercial.
You danced in Vegas, you know, I bet your blush was high up and lots of
I mean, I didn't really get on stage much because I was so, like, not great. But, like, I mean, I was good enough to get there. But then, like, people in Vegas, man, like, those dancers were insane. Like, they would do, like, 12 pirouettes.
Wow.
And I was just like, okay. So I only had a few little jump in moment, jump out. But they were really nice people.
It's still something.
It's still young. Something. It was great. Yeah.
But would you say after being in that setting, like, was that when you realised commercial's not for me? Then would you say you wanted to do more advocacy, community-based stuff, or were you still a bit young then?
I think I was, I mean, I think the main change for that, so after I came back from Vegas and I was like, okay, I'm done.
At 14, 15?
No, this is 16. So I went to Vegas twice.
Oh.
So the second time I went to Vegas, I know, crazy. Second time I went to Vegas, I was like, okay, like, I think I was just realistic. I was like, I'm not going to make it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't want to be trying too hard. Like, you know, it's just, it didn't feel good. And I actually had a teacher, Olivia Ansell, who's who was the recent Sydney Festival director.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was her mum. So she was my ballet teacher.
Yeah.
And she introduced me to a lot of contemporary dance. And so that was like, and actually Olivia choreographed a solo that I did in Vegas.
Oh,
Sounds like crazy.
You did a solo in Vegas?
I did a solo in Vegas, yeah. It was part of a dance competition kind of thing. So I was introduced to the contemporary world. Like I was seeing Miss Cunningham things, Pina Bausch, you know, I was just really seeing this artistic side. And when I was 16, I was going to so I left Stratford Girls. I was going to Bradfield College, which is like a TAFE. You do HSC, so it was like pretty free.
Yeah.
Like you could wear whatever you want. There was a dance studio, and I was like, I don't need anyone. I'm just gonna dance. So I just did it. And it was really freeing. Like I was choreographing on myself. I was doing classes like at City Dance Company, and there was some classes in Glebe, and I was just loving it. And then I did the traditional go to dance uni. So I went to Melbourne VCA.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I got into that and did a 3-year dance degree. And I think like I was so fit and I was so like great, and it was amazing, but I really lost my artistic identity, I think, there because, you know, like Melbourne's there's so much happening in dance.
Yes.
And but there's like a specific style, and I just didn't fit that style. You know, like it just wasn't my body type. It wasn't my interests. It wasn't, you know.
What is the style you're describing?
Well, I mean, you know, it's very white.
I was going to say, it's a very white and proper.
It is, yeah. You know, it's kind of like, it's very pedestrian though. Like it comes a lot from, I would say, like it has a lot of New York, Europe influence.
Yes.
So it's a very Western kind of influence. And, you know, this idea of pedestrian kind of movements. I mean, it's great. Like it's definitely given me tools but I think in terms of art in community, like I lost that, you know, and I just felt like I made a piece in my 3rd year, like a choreographic, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm interested in. And so when I graduated, I was just like lost, you know, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to dance. I don't know who to dance for. I don't know what to make. And then I went to Chile. And
how old were you?
I was just finished uni, so I was probably like, I don't know, 20, 21.
Okay, nice, yeah.
And I went to Chile, and I never thought Chile to be an artistic place. And I'd been there before, but I just never, you know, like you just don't you think Europe is art. You think USA is art. You don't.
New York.
Yeah, Vegas, New York, like
Vegas.
You know, and I never. But at this time, I was like, you know what? And I actually got a scholarship from my uni to travel, and I got another kind of funding thing. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna look at dance.
Yeah.
And there was so much dance in Chile, like it was insane.
Wow.
And art, and it was just like I was doing like 5 or 6 classes a day. I was watching shows every night, and it just like grounded me in like, okay, like these are my, you know, like I felt like, and it was really community. There was this amazing work I saw. It wasn't even a work. It was just like in the front of a theatre. Oh, actually, no. I think what changed me the most was just the culture. So like in theatres, right? So they don't have money in Chile. They're kind of getting funding now, but for the arts. But back then, you didn't get grants. Like if you wanted to make a show, you just did it.
Yeah.
You know, there was no funding.
Yeah.
And so people would like dance in the foyers of theatres. Like that's where they would have their rehearsals.
Oh, wow, okay.
Because like it was a space for art. It was a public space. So I would go to like a theatre during the day, and you'd have like a theatre group here, like a circus group there, you know, and like all different dance forms. And it was just, you're just immersed in the arts. And I think that trip really just like reminded me why I want to make art and I want to dance, and that there is a place for it.
And you were at a good age. I
Yeah.
think 21, you go as a young adult, you've got more of your own mind. No, that's great. And just to be surrounded by all those art forms, wow. I'm glad you did that.
Yeah,
And
I
would you
needed
say,
to. Yeah.
Was that kind of like a turning point for you?
That was, yeah. And, you know, like I could have stayed,
Yeah.
you know, but I ran out of money. It's a hard country to live in, you know, and
Yeah.
I think that's always a battle when you've grown up in Australia, but you've got family still in a country that has a lot of hardship, you know, and that kind of like, you know, where do you decide to live? You know, what do you kind of drop? And I got into a really amazing like show by this amazing choreographer, Jose Vidal, who's an incredible Chilean dance choreographer. And I was so in love with his work and his choreography. And I got into a show that he was going to choreograph on. And so I was like, dream come true, you know.
Yeah, wow.
But then I also had no money. And I applied for a job in Bega, which is like 6 hours south of Sydney, where the cheese is made. Bega cheese.
Oh, wow. Well tried.
It's like a country town. And
From Vegas to Bega.
Yeah, so I was like, and I applied for the job because it was a youth dance company. It looked super community.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll apply, and if I get it, that will be the decision.
Yeah.
And I got like both on the same day.
Oh,
and
wow.
it was like, but yeah, I decided to come back. So I left my dream artistic life in Chile but you know, started a really great, you know, career, I think.
You did, yeah.
Coming back and having all that experience, just like
100%.
You know.
Sometimes we need to be realistic about it as well.
Yeah.
We don't like here on Art Talk Out West, we don't like this whole struggling artist type of thing.
Yeah.
Like we like, you know, thinking about how we're going to survive financially, and we have to work, and sometimes we have to do what's best for us financially as well. But also making sure it aligns with you and what your soul desires.
Yeah.
There's so much. All right, Bega. Am I saying that correctly?
Bega, yeah. B-E-G-A.
I've probably eaten the cheese
All my
so
family
many
will say
times.
Bega.
Okay. Shout out cheese. So you working at the youth dance company?
Yeah. So I was an associate artist, which basically meant I did everything.
Yes, okay.
And then I was the dance development officer. But basically I taught classes.
Yeah.
I choreographed on shows.
Yeah.
I did producing. So it was really great because I got to like know what it's like to be in an arts org. And so that's really, and it was really my job before PYT.
Okay.
Like, so it's my two jobs really in the arts. And yeah, it was great. And I met my partner, Warren Foster, down there, who's a UN Djirnjanj man.
Shout out Warren.
From that area. And we met actually in a workshop. So Four Winds is this amazing like classical music place in that area. And they had like a day where the kids watched a show. I swear, I don't know, it could have been a PYT show. I don't know if it was.
Oh, wow, okay.
I'm thinking there was a parkour show and there was a show that PYT did, but I'm not sure. I have to check. Jump first, ask later. And it was at the Opera House. I don't know if it was streamed. It could have been a different show.
Okay.
But we met there because we had to do a workshop to respond to the show with the kids afterwards. And he was doing like traditional dance and I was doing dance, weird contemporary dance.
Yeah.
And so we met. And
why is this giving your grandparents like it's kind of...
well, I mean, it's a bit different though because I'm older.
Okay.
So, but yes, yeah.
But like it's the meeting in the arts.
It's the meeting in the arts, but I mean, we met many years before we actually got together, and when we started to like show interest in each other, I was running these like improvisation days where artists, like dancers, musicians, anyone just come in and would just jam for like, they were so weird and I loved them so much.
Do that again, please.
Oh, okay. But they get, you know, yeah, I will. I should do them. I should do them in Western Sydney, just like to.
Yeah, I want to jam out.
Just jam. So we just have these jams. And he started coming along to these jams.
Yeah.
And so we'd just like jam and, yeah, so.
Was he rapping?
Yeah, he would. I mean, Warren's very creative. Okay. So he can like, he's like, you know, those artists that just can do anything.
Yeah.
So he can act, he can dance, he can sing, he can rap. Rapping's his thing. But yeah.
I remember he did a cool rap workshop.
At PYT.
Yeah. That actually helped me a lot. Like,
yeah.
I think I did it with him 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And then once I did that, I was like, oh yeah, like I want to start making rap music.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, thanks, Waz.
But continue.
And yeah, and so I really connected with the, you know, First Nations community there. And I think because like, you know, growing up in West Sydney, I always grew up around like people of colour or people from different cultures. So it was very normal. And I think when you're like Latino, like, yes, you very much associate with that community, but because we're not like a massive, you know, ethnic community in Australia, we kind of like blend in with all the other kind of, you know, ethnic groups. So like I had a lot of friends from, you know, I had a lot of Lebanese friends. I had, you know, a lot of friends from Asia, Southeast Asia, like just everywhere, all over the world. And there's nothing of that in Bega. You know what I mean? Like it's really white. Yeah. It's like white. I mean, there is, like, don't get me wrong, there is, but, you know, there was white and there's a big First Nations community. So like I naturally just navigated into that community because I was like, oh, this is like get family. They, and I was really lucky to kind of lead some projects with First Nations youth. And that's kind of how Warren and I started working in these communities. And we had this amazing project where we wrote a song with some kids in Eden, which is like right near the border, like a beach kind of town. And, we just were there every week at a youth centre, and we wrote a song and did a video clip and, made a dance.
Gab.
Yeah. So, and all the artists, like lead artists, were all First Nations artists and local. So I think just like, and I still work. So Warren and I, we started a group called Jawalinga, which is...
Yeah, I really want to get it.
Yeah.
Really want to get into this, yeah.
So that translates in Yurin's language as we grow.
We grow. I love that.
Yeah.
We grow,
Jawalinga. And, we've been kind of pretty much since we got together, we've been constantly doing these kind of youth programs in both his community, Wallaga Lake, but kind of across that south coast. And we've done amazing things. Like we've got songs on Spotify with young people, Bula Midong album, which is in collaboration with Big Heart.
Yeah.
It's just evolved. So yeah.
That's beautiful.
So even though I left in 2020.
Yeah. Okay.
Which was like, I actually didn't leave because of COVID. It was the bushfires.
Oh, gosh.
So there was those crazy bushfires, and it was that area. Oh. And we actually like escaped. Like Warren and I went on this crazy drive to get out, which I felt really bad because I wanted to get out because I had no family there, but he left his family there. So it was like this. But yeah, it was just too much for me. Then I was like, no, I need to come back to Western Sydney.
Yeah.
And so I moved then after the fires to Western Sydney. But yeah, it's so nice to still have that connection. So we go down all the time.
Of course.
And, keep building these kind of projects with community.
I love that. That is really beautiful.
Yeah.
And please continue, like not just here, but continue telling everyone about that, because I think it's such a great thing you guys are doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, again, it's this thing of like, I'm a dance artist, but it's never always dance.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. We do. So we've done a lot of traditional dance. So Warren's led a lot of that. And, we did this show with Big Heart, which is this amazing company, social change kind of company that works across, the whole continent. And, like Warren was like, I want to do a blackfella musical. And so we had this dream, their creation story. And so Warren sort of narrated it, and the young people, we would incorporate the traditional dance into the story.
Wow.
Yeah, so like using really traditional dances. But so I guess like the choreography for me in that project was really like how to fit it in, with the storyline. But the dances already existed.
Yeah, of course.
And then obviously
like they let it, but you just kind of workshop it a bit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What have you learned from working with these young First Nations people?
What have I learnt? Oh, I don't know. Like, they're so great. I think and I mean, it's kind of a good lesson for all things. Is like, and I think it's why I work so well in these settings, is that I'm really impulsive. Like, I can't plan. And I've tried. Like, I've done lesson plans. I've done, but it's really just who's in the room.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like, you sometimes get the same kids. You sometimes get no kids. You sometimes, there's a lot going on in that community. And so it's just like being responsive in the moment to what's there and what people want to do. And I think just like, for me, it's really taught me to just be super open and
adaptable.
And just go with what's in the room. And like, I'm leading workshops in like digital. Like, I'm not, like I said, I only did dance, I've
only dance.
Only Vegas. And so, but I'm doing all these different art forms, like digital art. I'm doing animation. I'm doing, rapping and music production and
I want to say something though, and you might find this cringe or whatever, but I think like back to the term of the artist, I think you're an artist, however you want to accept it or use the word. But yes, you only like were trained in dance or whatever, but I think like in the essence of you and at your core, because you have that artist there and that creativity there, I'm not surprised you're able to dip into this and that. Like, again, it's just a way of being.
It's just a way of being. And I think, like I'm not I've never been like, even in my dance, you know, like I've always pulled away from that like elitist performance, like really, you know, high art.
Yeah.
I'm the choreographer, it's my thing, you know, and so it allows me to just, the art essentially is just collaboration, really. And it can be any form that evolves. And so I'm just, because I'm not really attached to the form too much, it means I can slip into these things. Because I'm like, okay, like I'm not a good rapper, I'm not a good writer, but I'm happy to do it because I understand process.
Yeah.
You know, I can sit in a room and I can go, okay, like what's inspiring us? What can we do? What are some parameters we can, you know, add in?
Do you think, you know, doing like rap stuff and then anime stuff and then dance stuff and then acting stuff, do you think, you know, like doing all those things, does that kind of build you into a stronger artist, do you think, or a stronger worker or person?
I think so, yeah. And again, I feel like I said, when I was doing full-time dance training and living in Melbourne, and I was very in the dance world, you know, and no other world. You know, I didn't have any other friends that were artists in any other world. And so I didn't feel in place. So I think being amongst artists that aren't dancers really lets me feel, and I think it's that driving force of creativity that's able to, so I think I feel a lot stronger in who I am.
Good.
From those experiences. Yeah.
See, like, this is a whole conversation in itself, because I know a lot of people would debate about this, because a lot of people try to, like, talk to me about this, but it's like, oh, well, why don't you just focus, like, some people think some people should just focus on one thing and master it. So that might have kind of been like you in dance school, just mastering the commercial dance, you know, Vegas, legs up. So when I say legs up, I mean like the kids.
No, it's totally. It's lots of legs up. Lots of legs.
Yeah. But, yeah, and someone might say the same about me. Like, why don't you just focus on, like, singing?
Yeah.
And I come from an Eisteddfod background as well.
Yeah,
I used to do jazz and country songs as well.
Yeah.
But when I was just focusing on, like, that one thing and not opening myself up to anything else, I kind of felt like I lost my artistic personality as well, and like my drive and like my will to do it. Yeah, but when you open yourself up, and these opportunities I think come to you naturally as well, and I think they've found you naturally.
Definitely, yeah.
Because people might see it in you, or like the universe or God might see it in you, and then once you take on those opportunities, I feel like you grow better as a worker, creative person.
Definitely,
Yeah, so that's what I'm seeing in you. I mean, I'm not here to analyze you,
but
it's been so great to understand all that about you.
Yeah.
That makes sense, what I was...
Yeah. And, you know, I got to recently choreograph on a work you were part of here. And, you know, like, it was so great. I was like, I love this. You know, like, the story's already there. It already makes sense. Like, you know, dance, like, doesn't make sense a lot of the time, which I love. Like, I personally, you know, like, I produce a lot of theatre now and I work a lot in theatre. You know, I do have... I wouldn't say it's my choice of art form to watch. Yeah. You know, because it's so literal sometimes. And I sometimes don't want to be told what I'm... Yeah. But I have to understand that I've had that you know, artistic, I guess, upbringing or even training that I can really understand abstract art and love it, you know, which...
that's a beautiful thing.
But, you know, like, working on care was amazing because, like, it was already such an incredible work. Like, everything was there. And then I just got to kind of, like, go, oh, let's just add a little bit of, like, you know, abstract coffee making
that was
things,
really great.
You know, and it was so beautiful. And I think just being open to work in non-traditional dance spaces just really allows me to just, Yeah,
it was great. And as someone who's worked with you, like, and been choreographed by you, guys, I'm not a dancer. Like, I did 1 year of ballet and I was there for the bunny costume.
Yeah, totally.
But, you were giving us movements and, you know, it's like up, stuff like that. And
Gestures, lots of gestures,
and you were great to learn from and follow from. So thank you. I can see that you're very adaptable in different contexts. And I think that's a really great skill for any person to have in any, whatever your work is.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think, like, I wouldn't have, if you weren't there, there would be no dance. And I think that's something that...
I love that.
it's very much of my practice is I have tried solo stuff, and I have done, like, my most recent project that I did in Chile is a solo thing, but it's really hard to work.
Is that 50-50?
Yeah, 50-50-50.
Oh,
yeah. It is really hard to work on your own. So I really draw from, like I said, who's in the room, what's in the room, what's happening.
Yeah, I get that. That's something I've been always, like, I remind myself, like, every few months. Things always get better when you kind of work with other people. And when you, even if you just ask someone else for help or allow someone else in the room, that collaboration is really beautiful in any art form.
It is.
Wow, there's still so much I want to unpack with you. All right, okay. Because we're kind of here,
Okay.
like dance, I know, like we were saying before, how can we make dance more accessible to Western Sydney?
So
Because I know a lot of us have these perceptions on, oh, you're a dancer, like
Yeah.
lush and legs are going up.
Yeah,
But-
totally. Well, that's the thing. Like, people don't even know what a dancer is, you know, and it's so, like, dance is who we are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, everyone dances, you know, and it's like the most ancient form of, and I think they even say, like, people move their bodies before they spoke, you know.
But they do.
Like,
we crawl and
we
walk.
crawl. We are
Yeah.
bodies. Like, we are moving
bodies.
things, and we dance. Like, there's traditional dance form. You dance at a party. Like,
Yeah.
everyone dances. But yeah, the dance, the arts dance, contemporary dance, whatever you want. Like, I don't even know to call
Dance.
it contemporary dance, but dance. Like, and I said it's expensive.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, I went to Melbourne, and I was lucky because I have a big family, and I had aunties living in Melbourne, so I could
great, yeah.
work, you know, but I was the only one of the very only people that had a job, you know. And I mean, I'm not trying to say, like, oh, you know, I was a struggling, you know, and I was probably the only person of colour as well.
No, but like you're not like that's just the
You know,
fact.
it is just a fact, you know. I'm probably the only one from Western Sydney, but
Yeah.
like, it's just the reality. Like, it's hard to have a career in dance, you know, and that unfortunately feeds into the industry. And then it's already not a very supported industry. So, like, I think there used to be like a uni, in Sydney. And so back then it was accessible if you
What was
lived
it called?
I think it was at UNSW.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was, I mean, there's still private ones, but in terms of like a public university.
How about the one in Dance Academy? Is that real?
Yeah. I mean, no, I don't think it's real.
Did you watch Dance Academy?
Yes, I did. I actually was an extra, I think, in one thing.
Sweet. I love it.
But yeah, like, so it's really hard to get into. So, you know, you had to have your parents paying for you to go to Melbourne, live there, you know, because it's hard. You have to dance like 8 to 10 hours a day. And then, you know, when you graduate.
It's a sport. It's a physical thing.
Yeah. And when you graduate, there's no dance jobs. Like, you know, dance companies, there's like, it's not like theatre where there's a lot, you know, or feel like visual, like there's nothing. And so you really need some sort of support to get you to do art. And I've been really lucky because I've always had that manner of like, get a job, work, you know, so I've always had a full-time job.
Yeah. So you guys get a job.
Get a job, work full-time. But yeah, so it's already not accessible. And then people who are watching, and it's also not audience accessible because there's not a lot of dance to watch. And so people are like, I compare it to Chile, right?
Yeah.
Dance is massive there. Everyone dances, you know, like everyone does some sort of dance for exercise and well-being, whether it's contemporary dance, whether it's ballroom, whether it's folk dance, you know, any style, pole dance, like whatever, everyone dances.
Yeah.
You know, everyone watches dance. So it's just a part of the culture where here it's like, you know, it's seen as this elite thing. And then Western Sydney is a whole other thing because like, you know, when I came back to Sydney, I really was noticing that there's this like Western Sydney identity of art, which I think is beautiful. And I love to be a part of that, you know, and I think PYT is a home for that. You know, it's like I mean, our whole team is pretty much Western Sydney and we're supporting Western Sydney artists, like truly. But I'm like, because dance is so small, you know, like there's Western Sydney dance companies, but they're not from Western Sydney, like the people that work there. The people that are putting on shows at, you know, Campbelltown Art, like they're not Western Sydney artists. It's just that they're making their art in Western Sydney. And I think like that's a huge thing because, and there's always this argument of like, there is no Western Sydney dancers, you know, there is no Western Sydney because the identity has never been able to grow. So I feel like I'm probably like one of the only, maybe the only dancer in Sydney that call, or maybe in Australia, that calls themselves a Western Sydney dance artist.
Interesting.
Because I like, you know, in terms of in that contemporary world, like, you know, there's a lot more in hip hop and I guess they're more accessible. You know, that's more accessible because you can see those dance forms on TV and in video clips. But yeah, in terms of like contemporary, you know, experimental kind of dance, like.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah,
so for our audience who aren't so like haven't got their head wrapped around the dance world, so is what we were trying to say is in Western Sydney, like we've got a lot of like, to use very simple language, like break dancers, hip hop dancers. Is that?
Yeah.
But then we don't have any contemporary.
Yeah, I mean there is amazing, like DMC, you know, is this form dance project. Like there's incredible Western Sydney Campbelltown Arts Centre. There's amazing Western Sydney dance that happens in Western Sydney. But it's not people from Western Sydney.
Okay, yeah.
And I think there's so many factors. There's no training. You know, people finish their dance school, they may have danced their whole life and then they have to go and study another thing. You know what I mean? So there's no training, there's no there's just no culture around it, and I don't know how to change it.
You know what? That actually makes a lot of sense because, you know, I went to an all-girls school in Western Sydney and I went to school with some girls who were contemporary. What's the word? Yeah. Contemporary dance trained, and they were dancing all throughout high school. And I'm sure they would have loved to go on and studied it, but yeah, like no one's really doing it anymore.
No one's doing it.
There's no jobs in it.
There's no jobs. There's no audience either. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you've got to build an audience for this sort of art. Like it's not, you know, it's different. And but it's also not to like dumb down a Western Sydney audience. Like you know, we're very, and we also all come from like, you know, cultural backgrounds where art is really intrinsically a part of who we are.
Yeah, I'm sure if you went back home to whatever your motherland is, there's contemporary dance.
Oh, there, Chile is insane. Like it's so amazing, and so I think it's just it's a total shift that needs to happen. And unfortunately, like dance is always kind of, you know, but that's why I work a lot with other artists because I think, I've learned that I can't just sit and live in that world, you know, and wait for it to kind of be accepting of me and also of my community. So that's why I try and do works that are, you know, like that allow people who may have never danced to be a part of, you know, and or work with artists in other art forms.
Yes, you're a real doer.
Yeah.
I can see that in you. Cool. All right. Okay, so what I want to get into is because you've worked on quite a few projects, and you've got some really nice things under your belt. Is that the saying? What do you want to speak about? Some of your favorite things that you've worked on?
Okay, so I've got a few. Yeah, I have like projects. So we spoke about the kind of youth, kind of community, regional. You know, that one's great. And then I do. Yeah, so I've got my personal kind of. I guess I'm saying solo practice now. But this group Gaia, so this was in response to 2019, there was a huge kind of uprising in Chile. And it very much repeated the times of when my family had to escape. Like there was a military, like there was curfews, there was a lot of violence and so I could see it all happening on social media. You know what I mean? So I was really, I wanted to do something, but I was not there.
Yeah.
You know, and that's this whole thing, I guess, of being like a refugee is like the separation of like, how do you make art in place, about place, when you're not in place, you know? And so I went to Chile last year, 2023 to 2024, and it was like the 50-year anniversary since the dictatorship started and in Chile. So I decided to do this project where I did 50 dances in 50 locations in South America or Chile and Argentina. And, you know, in response to the 50 years. And it was a mixture of like places that were really like publicly accessible. Like, so for example, the President House that got bombed, you know, or like a really like a torture center where a lot of people went, you know, like that was really like a big thing. But then it was really personal stuff too. So it was like, you know, my family's house that's no longer there. You know, it was like the the place where my grandfather gave out bread. So like, you know, the corner of the street. So there was like a mixture of like the church. So when my family exiled to Argentina, and the church that my family got help to come to New Zealand. So like I was danced at that church, you know. So there was so many, it was a beautiful mix of like learning about the history of that place, but then the personal history of myself. And it was incredible. Like, I mean, I had to do 50 dances. So it was a lot. I actually did more than 50.
Would it have been physically and mentally draining? Or?
It was, I mean, the dances were short. They were 50 seconds.
Okay.
But it was very...
Or emotional?
It was very emotional.
Hearing
It was,
about it, yeah.
but it was like beautiful to retrace those stories. And, you know, so like, and especially like I said, it was the year that my grandfather died. So he died while I was over there. And the last moment we had together, like I knew he was going to die when I was over there. But he always wanted to die in his country.
Yeah.
You know, like him being in Australia was always not something he wanted to do, but he could never go back to Chile because of the, you know, because of the situations. And so, you know, like I felt like my presence there
100%.
was him, like, you know, he knew that one of us was there.
Gabs.
Was able to, you know, so.
Definitely. That's so beautiful.
It was a beautiful project. But yeah, I mean, I learned a lot about the really horrible things that happened there, you know, and I danced in places that have a lot of trauma. But I think that's always been my thing, is like finding, so the stories that happen there, you know, my grandparents, they don't talk about them. And they're very traumatized by it. You know, like even talking about this project to my grandma, I had to be really careful because, you know, it's very triggering.
Of course, yeah.
You know, for her. And so, but, you know, like it's important to know where you come from. And so
yeah.
I find that the body holds those memories. You know what I mean? Like the body can't, like, you know, and you know that, like they say in science, like you are your grandmother, like DNA.
100%.
You know, so like those places where they were, that they can't tell me what happened there. My body being there and dancing, like I'm somehow in my head connecting to that story. I get you know, so that's kind of a belief I have, and so it was just, it was a real kind of like learning who I am and dancing.
I have goosebumps. Do you guys have goosebumps? This is beautiful.
Dancing,
wow,
yeah.
Is there any way we can watch this?
Yeah. So it's all on my Instagram.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it gets quite repetitive after a while because there's 50 of them.
Yeah.
And I've decided to audio describe because I work a lot in, you know, kind of like inclusive practices and disability-led practices. And so it's audio described.
Okay.
So you can just listen to it as well. I kind of do a little write-up next to the video, which kind of gives a bit of context to the place. And then I do a little 50-second dance. Yeah. But yeah, on my Instagram.
What's your Instagram?
So it's Gabriela Green Olea, but 1 L. So, and the B is actually a 3.
Okay.
So it's GA3 RIELA, green like the colour, and then Olea is OLEA.
All right, cool. And we'll put it in the description and whatnot for you guys.
Yes, but yeah, you can check it out.
Yeah. So what I wanted to actually touch base, like, I don't know, 40 minutes ago, but then we're kind of here again. How important do you think it is for a person or an artist or a worker or a creative to go back to their motherland and understand where they come from, if they're able to do so?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was essential. Like I said, it's how I became an artist, I think. You know, I just finished my training and I saw a world of art that was just so rich, and I was able to find identity in that. And yeah, like it's, and I still continue to go back, and a lot of my work now is, so I recently just did a project with a group and part of Mind's Eye Collective, Alex, Craig and Imogen Young, and it's essentially a dance work where we're challenging the notion that dance doesn't need to be seen. And it's essentially a phone call conversation or like a camera off Zoom with someone in another country. And we did it as part of Midsummer Festival in Naarm in Melbourne this year, and with the company Teatro Sur in Chile. And so we had someone in Chile and someone at the Victorian Pride Centre in Nam, someone in Chile, and they would connect over a Zoom camera off conversation where they would share things about who they are, their bodies in the space, and it was very movement dance led. And then they read out a dance that was created from a previous pair that had done it. So it's this continuing. It's a very like hard thing to explain.
Yeah, what does read out a dance mean?
So like essentially like, if I was to like verbally
Give directions.
but it stems a little bit from like audio description. So like describing. So if you think like a photo or something, and you can give like an image description on the photo. Yeah, it's a bit in that realm. So like describing what someone would see. Yeah, but then because it was written by dancers, so we would write these dance scores, I guess, or notations of dance from a conversation. It would also have a bit of poetry or a bit of like, you know, the space they're in. So it's kind of like a creative writing, but that's very movement based. So it's very much in the body, and expresses movement in words. So I guess when people would have this conversation, they would be reading out this dance, and you know, as the listener or even as the reader, like you can embody that in your mind's eye. So it's like, because I think people think dance is so visual, right? Yeah. Like especially with TikTok now, like it's so freaking visual. It's what you see. When you watch shows, it's like dance is seeing. But when you dance, it's not about seeing. It's so not a visual thing. It's a vision is so, you know, and a lot of the time when we dance, we close our eyes, you know, to like feel the movement. So I think it just really challenged that notion of like dance isn't visual. It's
Is it a feeling?
It's embodiment. It's embodiment. Yeah.
Weird. I like that.
But I can't remember what the question was.
So because how important do you think it is if someone is able and privileged enough?
To go back. So super important. And I'm now able, like I said, you know, I could have stayed in Chile. And if I did, I probably wouldn't have had the opportunity to travel. But now I'm able to like link the places. You know, and so I'm able to like connect the worlds, and I really want to. Like, I think we need to see more art from South America.
Yeah, we do.
Like, I went to a show in Nam last year, and it was this Brazilian theatre company. I don't remember, it's Portuguese, so I don't know the name, but it translates to like force bitch.
Period.
Yeah.
Force bitch.
It's a feminist, it's incredible. Like, it was like a 2.5 hour theatre work, and like and it was in Nam, and it was like one of the first that we've got, and it just went off. Like people just loved it, and I think I'm trying to go, how can we like do more exchanges, you know, and not just for Chilean people or for South American people. Like the work I did, the phone call one, like it was mostly like it was just anyone, and we had translators. So each call had someone speaking Spanish, someone speaking English with a translator.
Oh wow.
Amazing. So, you know, like I think it's so essential to go back to where you can, if you can, but you know, it's hard. Like
it is,
South America is so far, and I've only been, I think, 4 times in my life. You know, and it's expensive, and it's not as sustainable, you know, to go and every year, and also when you go, you've got to like see family for 3 months. So it's like
I really relate to this. Yeah,
short trip.
Yes.
But I think if you can, but if you can't, just connect with your, like I constantly listen to, you know, like I read Chilean authors, I listen to Chilean music, like I'm constantly like trying my best to connect.
Beautiful.
You know, with that culture.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Yeah. Because I agree, and I kind of relate to you. Like my family being from Lebanon, I've only been 4 or 5 times in my life as well, because it's a big trip and it's expensive and it's not sustainable to keep going back and forth, and living there as well, there's not much money, like there's a whole crisis. But I think I've said this in like a few episodes, but when I went to Lebanon as a young adult, I went at like 19. I had been before, but as a child. That's why I said when you went at 21, it was a good age. So I went at 19. I had my own mind. I just went me and my dad. So yeah, and I got to see the culture and country for what it is. Like no one was kind of like in my ear about it. I wasn't listening to any news outlets, describing Lebanon in a certain way. And I got to see art around me. And that's when I realized, like, in that trip in 2019, and I was 19, I realized, okay, when I go back to Australia, I want to start doing the work and training and just immersing myself in art, and I want to start creating things. And I feel like if I didn't go to Lebanon then, I wouldn't have taken that step because I felt really constricted and stuck because I had this mindset, and I don't know why I had this, but you guys might have this, you might have had this, maybe not, but in my mind, I was like, oh no, like, I'm Lebanese. I can't be an artist.
Exactly, yeah.
And I don't know why. And it's actually like, I feel silly saying that.
No, but it's true.
But I think a lot of people have had this mindset.
Yeah. And I think it's because in Australia, the art we see is not, it doesn't reflect the multiculturalness of Australia, So you don't see Lebanese musicians or, you don't see Chilean dance projects. You don't see, like, it's kind of seen in the community space or the, I think it's changing definitely, but yeah, as soon as you go back and you go, oh, actually, like, it's like I said, I didn't think Chile had art. Yeah. And it's like art on steroids, it's
every
insane.
Country has
every
art.
country has art.
Wherever you go in the world, there is art.
Yeah, and I think it's just, when you've grown up in a Western, world, it's like, sometimes you just need to go back home and go, actually, we're doing it here. And it's a great source of inspiration.
That's it, yeah.
And I think it's lovely, like you said, like you can relate so much. And I think that's something really beautiful about the diaspora of this place is like, we all come from different places, but that there's so many similarities in what that experience is, to be separated from your homeland, to have roots in different places, to not feel of place, to, to be kind of, you can kind of speak the language, but you kind of can't. Like, there's all these things that...
And, also the men in my family come from a military background as well.
Yeah.
But had to kind of rebel in a way.
Yeah, and there's so many things. So it's like there's so many stories that connect us. And I think that's what's beautiful. And I think that art should be doing that. You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
And you say about this dance, phenomena of like, how do we make dance more accessible? Yeah. And that's an issue, is people can't connect, and I think the more we can like remind people that we're all dancing and that dance is for everyone. It's not just for, ballerinas or, like it's for everyone. I think that's the way we can somehow,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to bring some weird improv.
Bring it. Let's do it.
Let's have some massive jazz,
Let's do it.
Yeah,
I'd love that.
Yeah.
Before we sadly have to finish this episode, I'm loving this so much, guys.
Yeah.
Quickly give us a day in your life or a day in your week if every day differs.
Okay.
Let's be realistic.
Yeah, I mean, so my day in my life, I'm very nomadic. So I kind of like I'm constantly like staying in different places. Like I have my place in Rose Hill, but I stay at my partner's Warren's place in Little Bay. I stay at my grandma's place. I stay like, all over.
Yeah.
So I wake up wherever I wake up.
I love that.
Or if I'm traveling, like I travel a lot too. So I wake up in whatever place I'm awake. And then, I have my full-time job at PYT. So that's a lot of my life, which is great. I love working there. It's such a great place to be. So it usually involves there, but that's also really diverse, the work. So some days I'm like adminning, some days I'm meeting, some days I'm like dreaming up amazing creative ideas of like how to change the world through the arts. And then I'm in creative processes, working with young artists. So it can be a range of different things. And then if on my days off, I guess, or my weekends, I think I'm constantly on the move. Like whenever I have a day off, I'm usually traveling. So I love traveling. I love going to different places. So I'm actually going to Darwin.
Oh, lovely. I want to go to Darwin.
Yeah, it's like, then I've been to every state.
Oh, great.
So yeah, so I'm going to visit a friend there. So yeah, I'm traveling a lot. I'm working in the arts and just...
And are you always like, in your day, like you've got to find that time to work on your own art, like all your own projects?
I mean, this is a challenge, you know, like I don't dance every day.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if I went down the traditional dance route, I would need to be
I don't sing every day.
Training every day, you know, and I mean, I need to train more, like I do. And there's other things, like I need to be, you know, there's so many things, if we had more time, like I used to be a really amazing, like dedicated to activism and like I've dropped off a lot, you know, as well. So there's many aspects of my life where I'm like, I need more time to like do everything. But so I'm not dancing every day. I try and dance at least, I mean, I do dance a few times a week. So there is that grounding practice. But yeah, like I'm constantly surrounded by the arts. And I think, you know, like I work in the arts full time. I'm constantly having all these projects. So when I'm not at my full-time job, I'm kind of like developing those projects and dreaming of those projects. And then my partner's an artist too. So, you know, we're constantly in that creative space, which I love. Like, I don't think I could survive.
That's great, yeah.
Any other way.
No. I've said this with Bina before, and I'll say it with you. If we're not doing our art, if we're not being creative, that's like your will to live. That's, well, for me at least. I won't speak for you, but like that's what pushes us every day. And without that, it's a bit boring.
Yeah, definitely. No, I totally agree. Yeah.
Thank you, Gabriela.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. I'm really sad that we're going to end this. But if you guys enjoyed this conversation and if you enjoyed season 1 of Art Talk Out West, and if you enjoyed the first 6 episodes, please let us know so we can try and push for a season 2. Hopefully we get some funding or support. If you're feeling generous, you can donate to PYT, and that'll help us get season 2 up and running. But I want to end something actually on a little quote so me and Gabriela, we were in a meeting earlier this week together, and there was the quote on caring, and it's really long, but I'll just read I'll just read the first sentence of it. But I want to read this because, Gabs, what I've got from you is you are a really caring person as well, because I feel like for you, art is also advocacy, and it can be a bit political at times. And you also care so much for the other people you're working with. And I said that at the start, and I'll say it again, like I can see that in you. So this is a quote from Sarah Ahmed, and it's from The Promise of Happiness. And I'll read the first sentence for you guys. There is nothing more vulnerable than caring for someone. It means not only giving your energy to that which is not you, but also caring for that which is beyond or outside your control. Caring is anxious. To be full of care, to be careful, is to take care of people by becoming anxious about their future, where the future is embodied in the fragility of an object whose persistence matters. So I'll stop there because it's very long. But I recommend reading The Promise of Happiness by Sarah Ahmed. Thank you again for joining us, and thank you, Gabs.
Thank you.